The Houston Rockets have parted ways with the 20th pick from the 2023 NBA Draft. Cam Whitmore headed to the nation's capital for 2 second-round picks. Whitmore has played in 98 games over his first 2 seasons with just 5 starts, just 17 minutes a game. Sean, Whitmore has lamented about wanting more playing time. Seems like he's going to a situation where that is going to happen.
Yeah, that's the trade-off. You're going to go to a situation where that can happen, but of course you're going to take a step down in terms of winning. The Wizards are a developing team. They're a few years away from possibly making the playoffs, and that's if everything goes right. But Cam Whitmore has shown a lot of promise in his limited playing time. He can score out the bounds. But again, we don't know how good a player he is until he gets that playing time. That was not going to happen with the Rockets, who added depth. Now he goes to the Wizards. He can compete with other young players, and we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, you say other young players, 4 guys from last year's draft on that team, including Bub Carrington, Alex Sar, who had standout rookie seasons. Hey, Trey Johnson, 6th pick in this year's draft, some believe could be one of the best scorers in this year's draft. Okay, Sean, do you smell that? That's new money coming the way of the champ SGA, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Kyrie Irving. They've all agreed to terms on contract extensions, but you know you don't see on this screen?
Who's that?
One young Ice Trae, also extension eligible, starting Sunday, July 6th. He could sign for up to $229 million over the next 4 years. Look, we know who he is, 3-time All-Star, has the most assists in the NBA since the start of the 2018 season. But Sean, what's the latest on him? He's sitting here like, clock's ticking, where's my money?
Yeah, I think you can, quote-unquote, bank it.
That's interesting.
Well, Trae Young is the centerpiece of this team. I mean, he had a big voice in the draft and free agency, getting Nickeil Alexander-Walker here. And the team is built around his skills. I think that he's going to get that extension. And how does he fit with this team going forward? All of a sudden, he's in a leadership position. How does he respond? Is he a little bit more efficient shooting? Because that's kind of tailed off. But assists, as you can see there, Chris, that has soared.
I mean, way ahead of Nikola Jokic, who's won several MVPs in this time period. James Harden, Russell Westbrook, also MVPs and future Hall of Famers. Trae Young, yet still ahead of that list. All right, so here's the deal. Let's say Trae Young doesn't receive this extension. Now the Hawks, they seem like they're playing with fire. He could enter free agency next summer if he doesn't take his player option. Do you think they do that?
Well, I think with Trae Young, he has to respond in terms of where's his heart. You know, he's from Oklahoma City. He saw how Shai Gilgeous-Alexander took a young team all the way to a championship. Does he feel that he can do that with this young team in Atlanta in due time? Once he decides where his heart is, and I think that's where the domino effect's going to happen. Whether they keep him, whether they sign him.
Well, Zion Williamson eligible for a $128 million contract extension. A little complicated here, though. Top pick for the 2019 NBA Draft is under contract through 2028, but those 2 years are not guaranteed. So Zion, who's averaged 35 games played over his 6 years, essentially would get that money guaranteed. Do you think Joe Dumars and the new regime in New Orleans pull the trigger on it?
Yeah, see, that's tough to justify. I think Zion's got to show, number 1, good health, and number 2, being in shape. He really hasn't had either through much of his career, and that's why he hasn't played that many games. We do know how good he is when he does play, but I think this new regime led by Joe Dumars has to see that. They have to see that before they make a big financial commitment to him.
You say before they make a big financial commitment, do you think he's traded before?
I think it's possible, but where's his trade value right now? I mean, they would be trading low. I think the rest of the league is looking at Zion the same way the Pelicans are looking at Zion. We have to see something sustainable. We need good health, and we need you to be in shape, and then we'll see, we'll make up our mind up in terms of what your value is.
Well, Austin Reaves thinks he knows his value, betting on himself, turned down a 4-year, $98 million extension, has a player option for next year. You anticipate that gamble will pay off the bigger contract than that $96 million one that was on the table.
Yeah, it's incredible how a player who wasn't drafted made a good financial decision by turning down all that loot, because he did. Austin Reaves he's in big demand around the league. right? Now, as to what price, we don't know. But if he hits the free agent market next summer, I think he'll get a lot of interest.
So he could go from, what, 24 million to 44 million a year? Do you think that's feasible?
Well, I don't know how big the leap is because we don't know what teams will have that kind of money to spend. But we're going to see a hike in the salary cap because of, media rights and potentially expansion down the line. So, and he's going to be on the free agent market where maybe he's one of the better players in the free agent market. So we don't know how much he can get, how much he can demand until we figure out what teams are out there looking for help and how much money they have to spend.
Well, we knew the Knicks were looking for help when they went and got Mikal Bridges. Now he's up for a 4-year, $156 million extension. This is an Iron Man. Will help the Knicks to get to an Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. But, Sean, they also gave up 8 draft picks for him. Do you think he'll re-sign it?
Yeah, I think they will because that's the risk you take when you trade for a player who has very little left on his contract. You basically decide, hey, you know what, we're going to sign him to an extension when that day comes. So I think they had an idea how much they're going to have to pay it, and I think they made peace with that. The Knicks right now, they can't afford a disruption. They've got a new coach coming in. They feel that they're championship ready. You're not championship ready when you decline to sign one of your main pieces. So I think he's going to resign there, and they're going to see how far this team can go.
And, the Nova Knicks thing is a real thing, right? Jalen Brunson's their best player, their all-NBA guy. Bridges, obviously, a college teammate with him. And you were explaining to me earlier, like, hey, Jalen Brunson took less so that they can make moves like this.
Exactly. So I think this is all going to happen. This is all sort of like a master plan for the next 3 or 4 years for the Knicks. They built this team this way. He's a very good defender. They need good defenders. They've got now most of the pieces, but they've got to put it all together.
How about this? The going rate for one Devin Booker, $75 million a year. That's what his extension is looking at. 2 years, $150 million. That would put him under contract through the year 2030. Do you think this is a done deal for the Suns?
Well, I do think he's going to come back. That doesn't mean they have to give him 2 years, 150. That's what he's eligible to get. Now, maybe they get together and say, well, it's a little bit rich for us. We're not contending for anything. But I think this is one of the rare instances in the NBA where a player stays with one team. You've seen, players bounce around here and there. I don't get that with Devin Booker. I think there's a mutual interest in keeping this relationship going.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen Jeremiah Fears' 7th pick in the draft. He wears the number 0, as in zero fears. Up next, we head down to Bayou to get closer. And a trade between the Pacers and the Grizzlies. Jay Huff, your 2023 G League Defensive Player of the Year. 7-footer shot 40% from three-point range for the Grizzlies last year. Some injury insurance there for the Pacers. Grizzlies Thunder Summer League action. Jalen Wells, all-rookie team last year. A.J. Mitchell on the floor for the Grizzlies. But don't forget about G.G. Jackson.
Yeah. Look at that, right off the bounce. Showed some promise for it. He's been hurt a little bit, but he's playing well.
Playing big as well. There's one dunk. How about catching the alley-oop for another one?
Okay, see, this summer league might be a little bit beyond him.
He's just 20 years old. He didn't graduate yet.
Oh, okay.
Nikola Topic. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Lottery pick last year for the Thunder. The floater here. Then the 3 from the top of the key.
Do you know he has a championship ring and he ain't play a minute?
I think he'll be playing next year. Philandris Fleming here with the over the backboard, beating the buzzer at the end of the third. A.J. Mitchell, saw him earlier, spin in the, filet. But back to the G.G. Jackson show. Attacking the rack. Grizzlies win 92-80. Taking you to the WNBA, Tyrese Halliburton and Caitlin Clark, both spectators in this one. Kelsey Mitchell and company playing their 5th consecutive game without Clark. Mitchell dialing from long distance. Kelsey Plum doing the same. Jab, jab, cross, cash. The Sparks take the 2-point lead there, but the Fever up 3 at the half. Natasha Howard had herself a ball game. Soft touch with the left here. Aaliyah Boston in the 4th.